What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are back at it again with another episode of Stats Over Politics. This is episode 91. We will be going over every first round NBA matchup in the playoffs, starting from, unfortunately, not the Kings. I was ready to load that up for the first topic, but unfortunately, it will be the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Pelicans. So we will go all the way from the top to bottom from the East and Western Conference. But before we get into it, Jaevon, how are we doing today, brother?
Went 0-2 on my picks tonight. Then, if you faded me, you would have did well. It was very eye-opening on actually how good these teams were versus the teams that they actually played on. The missing holes that they kind of were. Like, if you looked at Miami, you're like, Miami is actually a solid team even without Jimmy Butler versus, like, the Bulls. The Bulls really aren't that good. You were just caught in the facade of the play-in game of them playing against a terrible team in the Atlanta Hawks versus the Bulls, who were a slightly less terrible team versus playing a very well-coached Miami Heat team. And then you got, the Pelicans, who I thought had a lot of very good role players versus a beat-up Sacramento team who were playing a very, I'd say, hindered Golden State Warriors team. So don't get caught up in the facade of these games, you got to kind of take it by how good they were throughout the regular season versus what their teams are right now versus what you saw in the previous playing games. So, a lot to take in. And plus, I picked both road teams to win. So, these home court matchups, they do matter, especially when it comes to playoff time. Well, I don't want to hurt people's feelings because playing is not playoffs. I'll say a postseason basketball game. How about that? Because that's the regular season over. This is technically a postseason game. So, ready to get into it. About to get into it.
Yeah, man. Toddy was calling me at halftime. He was like, "Hey, we still on for the show?" I was like, "Yeah, Toddy, it's 8:20. Why wouldn't we be on for the show?" He goes, "I don't know, Kev. They getting after y'all." And I'm like, "You know what, man? It's a 4-point game. We're gonna be all right. I'm going on again, preparing for the show. I take a glance, 20 points. Take a glance, 14. Got it down to 10 or 8. And I was like, listen, I was about to say, bro, in the last minute, we got it down at like 8. And I was like, oh, hell no, bro. We get double OT, no podcast. Like, we going to sit this thing out. But unfortunately, the beam is not lit. And we have some Instagram comments from Jaevon and a million saying, like that L. So, real unfortunate. We're doing what we can around here. Sacramento Kings, I've been getting a lot of DMs saying the new streak has started. I've been getting a lot of disrespectful things, but it is what it is. You got to take it on the chin. Like Toddy mentioned, you have to look at the team as a whole. You can't just really judge the team's season off of these last two games. Malik Monk, Kevin Huerter, both two really significant players on our team. Yeah, we had the Keon Ellis effect, but we'll dive into it a little bit later, but we missed that third score. It was just Sabonis and Fox, and even the announcers were like, "Man,
Fox at 35. They ain't lose because of him."
Hey, man, that's all we had. All we had was Sabonis and Fox, but that is how I'm feeling right now. But let's get right into it, Toddy. So we are going to jump into it. We're going to go in order of the games. So tomorrow we're going to go from that games down, and then Sunday from the games on. So we are going to start in the Eastern Conference where we have the Orlando Magic versus the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Orlando Magic.
But so yeah, Toddy. So before you kind of give us your debrief on it, what do you have this series going to, and who do you have winning?
I think this is a 7-game series. I like the Magic. I really, really do. I think we're going to see the emergence of Paulo Banchero. Kind of saw flashes in with Team USA this past summer and kind of seeing, glances. I think last year, towards the end of last year, we kind of saw Paulo start to, emerge himself as a young star. And I think he kind of solidified last summer's, like what he was previewing, what he would be in the summer of last year. It kind of solidified itself. I'd say this year in the summer, making a huge leap. And I think I wanted to say back I always like to refer back to our pre-season pod on guys we thought would be that would stand out throughout the regular season, and Paulo Banchero was definitely one of those guys. And I think I have Franz Wagner on there too. And we saw Paulo make a huge leap, making an all-star team, getting his team to a 5 seed in the NBA as a second-year player. I think it speaks volumes because I don't even think LeBron made it. He made it to a playoff. I don't think it was a playoff. They made it to the playoffs until his third year, basically.
Third year, but I mean, I don't mean to cut you off, but he ain't got no Boobie Gibsons and Zilgotskis on his team, so that's a crazy name to throw out there with LeBron James. But you gotta throw some detail in there, man.
I mean, this Orlando Magic team without Paulo Banchero was pretty much non-existent, I'd like to say, but I like their chances. I like their length. I think they're a very highly rated defensive team. I do think the best player in this series is still Donovan Mitchell, but just the way that the Cavs have been playing towards the end of the season, they have not looked as good as they did in the past couple of months. So can Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell coexist for one more series? I'm not sure. Last year, they were favored against the New York Knicks and lost to Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle. The Knicks played a tremendous series, but just could never really get it going. And Donovan Mitchell was putting up insane numbers. We saw, I think, a 40-point game in the playoffs against the Knicks last year, a 38-point game from him as well. But they weren't able to really get over the hump. So another year with the Cavs, you would like to see. I think the Cavs are favored in the series. They're minus 180 to win the series, if I'm not mistaken. So I do like the Magic in this series. Now, Franz Wagner has not been shooting well from 3. I think he's at 20, sub 30% from 3, which is not what he's accustomed to. I do think we'll see some breakout games from Cole Anthony, who has been playing very well. A lot of people are going to start to figure out that the Magic are actually really good because they haven't been watching them on League Pass like me and you have throughout the season. So they're like, oh, Jalen Suggs is really good. And Franz Wagner, these, we kind of been talking about these guys throughout the whole regular season. And then they'll really start to figure out who Paulo Banchero is because the first game is not on NBA TV, by the way, guys. It's going to be on ESPN. But we'll probably see them on NBA TV throughout the rest of the week. It's kind of been like a running joke for this series in particular. But this is going to be one of the more exciting series. A lot of young talent that will be kind of surrounded in this series with, Garland. Evan Mobley we'll get to see too. Franz Wagner. Jonathan Isaac is going to be an X factor for the Orlando Magic defensively. And I think it's going to be a really exciting series. Probably a lot of low-scoring games we'll see in this series too, just from the defensive rating that I already mentioned from the Orlando Magic. So I think it goes 7 games. I do think the Magic probably pull out a series victory. You got to put a number to it, Toddy. You got to put a number to it. 7 games. Oh, you said 7. All right. 7 games. Man, it's this. I think this and the Clippers, the 4 or 5 matchups are always the hardest to choose. So in the East, we have the Cavs and the Magic. In the West, we have the Clippers and the Mavericks. The Cavaliers, we have seen literally, I think, 3 different versions of this team. We saw them from the start. It was really shaky. You see Garland break his jaw. You see Evan Mobley go out. Then you see Donovan Mitchell really take that stand. And everyone was like, all right, well, now they're playing a lot better without their 2 guys out. And then Donovan goes down before the season ends. And we really haven't got to see this team play at its full strength at the beginning of the season when they were getting all the irons and crinkles out of their system. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this team flows, all of them healthy. I think the Cavaliers don't have a chance in hell guarding Paulo Banchero. Evan Mobley out there on the perimeter is going to get torched, dog food. And I compare the Cavaliers to the Timberwolves a lot in a sense because I think their big men are going to get played off the court. Small ball is such a big thing nowadays. Playing 2 big men and Evan Mobley. I forgot about Wendell.
Wendell Carter.
My God. That boy gonna be a problem.
Yeah, bro. So I think they're just gonna struggle, man. They don't have the depth, and I think it really just comes down to the other guys on this team. Like you mentioned, Jalen Suggs. If you haven't been watching League Pass, like Toddy mentioned, you don't know who Jalen Suggs is and how he's been doing. You still consider him a bust being drafted so high coming out of Gonzaga. If this wasn't a year of Tyrese Maxey, he'd be up there for most improved. If we're really being honest, like he's been killing it. He's going to make an all defensive team. So for them to really get that going, Jonathan Mosley has got this team ready to go. They have vets like Gary Harris, Joe Ingles. So they have a good amount of young guys and a good amount of vets. I'm really thinking that Maurice Wagner, I think is his first name, is going to. Yeah. So I think he's going to be a real big X factor in this series because I couldn't even tell you who the Cavs backup big is. Isn't it? Don't they go small with Niang?
Yeah, I think it's George Niang.
Yeah, so I think they're going to be small.
Mobley sometimes plays the 5 too. That could be small ball, but I don't think you can have Jarrett Allen and
Evan Mobley on the court
at the same time for a long period of time.
Evan Mobley just hasn't been consistent enough from that 3-point line, and they're going to make him shoot. And if you're not out there hitting
they're going to dare his ass to take that 3-pointer all series long. He's going to be there too.
So
I don't think we'll see it. Go ahead, Kev.
I was say I know Paolo's going to show, but I think so we have the X factor with Maurice Wagner. I think the Wagner brothers are really going to solidify this series. If Franz can come and play alongside Paolo Banchero, because you would think they would have 2 stars, but it's really just Paolo Banchero is on a tier of his own, and then it's Franz, Cole, and everybody else. So if Franz Wagner can come to play every game, we saw, like Toddy mentioned, the Cavs got upset last year against the Knicks, and I rewatched the video. Not a single person on the panel chose the Knicks. We all went with the Cavs, and we were all horribly disappointed. So
that was last year, yeah.
Great. I was last year, bro. Everyone picked the Knicks, and I was like, damn, bro. Like, the Cavs really let us down, and I don't know if I can let the Cavs do that to me again, man. So if we can see the young Magic team really get it after it on the defensive end, and Darius Garland struggles, I think the Magic win this in 6. I know the Cavs is going to be rocking in Cleveland. I wouldn't be surprised if the Orlando Magic wins tomorrow. Like, I feel like they're just going to jump the gun. They're a young team. They're playing with house money at this point. They have nothing to lose. So I am all in on the Orlando Magic, and I have them winning this series in 6. Jaevon Toddy is down for the moment, so I'm going to have to hold it down. So let's go ahead and get to some of these comments. The beam must be broken. Yeah, the beam must be broken. It's a sad, sad day to be a Sacramento Kings fan. Like I mentioned, Pop, we were talking about it before the show. I got people texting me saying, Kevin, I hope you're ready for the next drought, and A, B, C, and D. We just went 16 years, man. 1 year, I'll be fine. We'll be right back next year. You have anything else to say about the Magic Cavs series, Ty, before we move on?
Yeah, the Mavs, or not the Magic.
I mean, Magic, excuse me.
Yeah, the Magic are plus 175 to win the series. So the Cavs are heavy favorites to win at minus 205. If you want to bet them to win the series, get them at a good plus price. I'm thinking about sprinkling some money on that. We'll see if the odds will definitely change if they win tomorrow. But we'll see. If it goes 7 games, it might not change dramatically, but if they win like first 2 games, it'll definitely.
Oh, they win the first 2 games. It's
yeah. So
they might get the brooms out.
I think I don't know if they win tomorrow, but they are on the hotline. I have them at plus 5, so we'll see. I did pick them to win. Wink, wink. You'll see in our picks for tomorrow. But yeah.
Definitely. And before we move on, like Toddy mentioned, we will be posting graphics for every set of playoff games. And like we did in the regular season for football, we will keep a tally of the records. And as everybody knows, this is Gary's time to shine. Every time we do little challenges between the 4 of us, Gary somehow ends up coming up on top. But I think I'm going to be able to do it this year, man. I think I'm feeling good about my picks. I'm feeling locked in. And I think it all starts with this next series, Toddy, with the Phoenix Suns and the Timberwolves. So I'm going to go ahead and take this first. I know Wesley Reynolds is out there watching this right now, so I got to hold it down for him. I got Suns at 7. Suns at 7. We mentioned it with the Cavaliers. Playing 2 big men can only take you so far. We've seen series after series after series, Rudy Gobert being played off of the court. Karl Anthony Towns is coming off an injury. So who else is going to be able to carry that weight? I'm a huge Nas Reed fan, so I'm not going to come on here and say anything bad about him. And I know Wes is sitting here typing right now, Kevin, we have Jaden McDaniels. I know Anthony Edwards came out and said they got KD, we got McDaniels. You're supposed to say that. Every day of the week, you always ride with your team. This is Kevin Durant we're talking about. Top 12, top 15, top 20 all-time Kevin Durant. Arguably one of the best scorers in the game, in history, Kevin Durant. So, Jaden McDaniels, I don't think that's the answer. But I think it just comes up to the other guys, the Mike Conleys of the world, the Nickeil Alexander-Walkers, the Nas Reeds, they're going to have to rally because, the Suns don't have a deep team, but their first 6-7 is lethal. They got the first 5. Then you got Eric Gordon come off the bench, Grayson Allen, and you never know. I think we might be getting a bowl playoff cycle. So this team they're all healthy right now. They're playing really, really good. So I'm really interested to see this series, but I'm going to take the Suns at 7. Bradley Beal I think we're finally getting to see the Suns team in the full strength as we wanted them to see. And I know a lot of people are out there saying right now, Kevin, the Nets did the same thing. They didn't play the whole season. And then what happened? I don't think that's going to happen. Devin Booker and Kevin Durant got them to round 2 by themselves. So now you're adding a guy of Bradley Beal's caliber. And I said this last week, it sucks that he was hurt for a lot of the time, but that's a lot of time he was resting. So now you pay him for $65 million. Let me go out there and see that money well spent. So I'm going to have to go Phoenix Suns in 7, upsetting the Timberwolves. But in reality, I don't think this is an upset because, like I mentioned, the Suns were hurt all year. If they were healthy the whole year, maybe this series is reversed 3-6. So I'm going to have to go Suns in 7. What do you think, Toddy?
It's going to be tough for the Timberwolves. The Suns went 3-0 against them during the regular season. We just saw Bradley Beal drop almost damn near 40. That was in Minnesota too, so that was kind of like a foreshadow what's to come on what we'll see from this team in the playoffs. And like Kevin kind of already mentioned, we saw Devin Booker and Kevin Durant basically take this team on a semi-deep playoff run kind of by themselves last year. And they were the only team to win 2 games against the defending champs, and that was when Devin Booker and Kevin Durant had 80 points between the two of them. Now, I do realize that, this is a team sport, but in the playoffs, things are so much different. I've said time and time again on this podcast, during the playoffs, just everything slows down. And when you have guys that can constantly get buckets in a playoff setting, I feel like that's going to be at an advantage for them. Now, I do think there's 2 guys on the Timberwolves who can particularly get a bucket whenever. That's Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards. Obviously, those 2 are all-star caliber players. But I have noticed that Karl Anthony Towns gets in foul trouble a lot, especially during the playoffs. And if Cat fouls out like 5 minutes, 4 minutes when the game is on the line and you're down 4 points, you're going to have to look for other guys to go get buckets. And I don't feel like there's enough of those guys. Yes, there's the Nas Reeds out there, but I think it was hurt in last year's playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't think we've really seen him in a playoff setting. But I feel like there's going to be so much relied on Anthony Edwards that I feel like buckets will come a lot easier for the Suns versus Anthony Edwards is going to have to work a lot harder to go get buckets. And that being said, I think Anthony Edwards is going to have a 40-point game at some point during the series. I don't know if you can gamble on that, what the odds would look like on that, but I would definitely put money on Anthony Edwards to have like a 45, 40-point game at some point during the series. But I'm just looking at it to whereas the Suns, they got Book's going to come out of one position, and KD's going to come down and hit a 3, and then Beal's going to come down and get an and 1. So I do think we do see Bowl in the series at some point in time for a small ball type of lineup. It's going to be heavy hitting. You're going to see guys kind of going back and forth with Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and obviously Cat and Anthony Edwards are going to be able to make moves here and there. But it's going to be a very interesting series. I do think the Suns pull it out. I'm going to say in 6 games that they kind of, be able to get it done and close it out at home.
So we both got Suns in 6, baby. I'm here for it. Let's go ahead and get some.
Yeah, Wes is not going to be too happy.
Yeah, no, Wes is not happy. He just sent me the Bleacher Report thing about the Kings saying eliminated. So yeah, Wes is living it up right now. So I hope you're hearing me, Wes. Suns in 6, baby.
Tomorrow, right? I think it is.
Yes, it is tomorrow. I'm thinking Wolves in 6 and Magic in 7. I hear you. I think the Suns are going to be able to do it though. And then we have Uncle Manny. Every team in the offseason got better in the West except the Kings, and it really showed. I'm going to hit on this real quick. I think I don't think we really messed up in the offseason. If Kevin Huerter and Malik Monk are playing, I think it's a different story. That's all I'm going to say on it, Tyler. You want to say something on that?
I think so, too. Yeah, I could. Yeah, injuries kind of got you guys at the end, and you kind of were like, Yeah.
And like Shaun mentioned last year, we only won 2 more games than we did last season. Like, the West just got tremendously better.
And the Kings didn't, like I said, in the offseason.
But, I mean, we didn't get worse.
You guys stayed the same. You guys stayed the same. Stagnant.
Dude, no one was expecting the top 4 teams to be 1.5 game apart all season.
That's true.
But let's go ahead and move to the Eastern Conference. We have the New York Knickerbockers versus the 76ers. Toddy, what are you thinking? Who and how many games? And give us your reasons why.
I kind of went back and forth on this series. I was looking I was kind of swayed, I'd say, throughout the past week or so on who would come out on top of the series. I like the Knicks. I like the Knicks to win this series. I did not like what I saw from the Philadelphia 76ers, who drew a stake in the hotline a couple days ago. That's neither here nor there. The refs definitely have the spread on the Heat, but that's another day. That's another story for another day. Kind of loved what I saw from Jalen Brunson down the stretch for the New York Knickerbockers, as Kevin Dent likes to call them. That was actually their real name once upon a time.
Once upon a time, ABA.
Dante, this weird Villanova connection, I feel like there's something to that. They have a tremendous record against the spread when OG Anunoby plays. So he's going to be there being able to defend on the wing and create some type of scoring. And for them, I feel like Julius Randle won't hurt as much because they still got the 2 seed, even though he was, out with a torn, I think it was labrum. So he's out for the season. And they still somehow were managing to get the 2 seed. So they're going to play hard. Tibbs is going to play his guys 40 odds on
6 dudes, 40 minutes.
Yeah, he's playing 6. He's only going to have a rotation of 6, 7 guys. I think Brunson's going to get his. I think Brunson averages like 30 in this series, to be honest with you. I think what we saw, what Miami was able to do and kind of neutralize them with that weird zone. And they just were dribbling into steals. Guys were turning the ball over left and right. I think they had like 12 turnovers in the first half, which is insane. And I think the Knicks played really good defense. So I think Tibbs was looking at that playing game film, was like, oh, so you guys are struggling against the zone, you say. And so I think we'll see Josh Hart get a bunch of steals. DiVincenzo is going to be knocking down threes. They have home court advantage too. So just looked at the odds. The Knicks are minus 125 to win the series. So they're favored to win. I think Vegas kind of saw that play and was like, I don't know. They're slight underdogs, but still kind of questioning Joel Embiid's health and how healthy is he. What is Maxey going to bring to the table for these guys? And can Tobias Harris, I feel like if Tobias Harris plays like that, like in the play-in game, it's not going to look too good. So with that being said, I do like the Knicks in 6 games. I think the 2 games I think it's just going to be all home games. I think the Knicks are pretty much just going to win all home games, and they'll go on the road and probably lose. The Knicks had a weird game on the road against Philly where they blew them out by 30 earlier in the season. I do think Philly gets both games at home, so they'll probably lose 2. And then the Knicks will go on the road, and Philly will win their 2 at home. And then I think the Knicks win, and then they'll go back to Philly. The Knicks win another game there and kind of close the series out there. So I do see this game. It's going to be a very tough fighting series. I think it's going to be a coaching matchup between Tom Thibodeau and Nick Nurse. That's going to be a role as well, or that's going to be a factor as well. And I think the Knicks win in 6 games. So it's going to be a pretty entertaining series, with New York and their crowd and Joel and how he is against opposing crowds. So it's gonna be fun to watch. So I do think the Knicks win in 6 games.
You're not gonna mention your boy Wizard Kelly one time?
Yeah. Oh, my boy Kelly Oubre, man.
It's a cold world, man. It's a cold world. He was all on you to play, and now I'm like, yeah, it's money time. So unfortunately, Toddy, I'm gonna have to go against you. I got the Sixers in 7.
Yeah.
We all remember when Trae Young went into the Garden and they were throwing shit at him, turned him into the villain. That was Trae Young.
Yeah.
This is Joel Embiid. This is a different monster. This is the troll of all trolls. They go into Madison Square Garden and win game 1. It's up. And you did mention, Nicholas Batum, baby. Coming in and making plays. They got Buddy Hield. This team was Buddy Hield. They just got Buddy Hield. So Joel Embiid really hasn't got the chance to play with all the new additions. So now that they have all this, they got all this spacing for one reason and one reason only. 35 games of the season, we had the MVP. What can we do to put more pieces around him? Because if Joel Embiid would have played, he probably would have went back-to-back MVP. So it comes down to who else. I know Dante DiVincenzo is going to shoot 10 threes and make 7 some nights. I know Josh Hart. I know Isaiah Hartenstein. I know Mitchell Robinson. I know all the dead players that they have. I get it. It all makes sense in the world, but it comes down to star power. Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid trump any second player that you put against Jalen Brunson. Mitchell Robinson has been hurt a lot this year, so Hartenstein's been getting a lot of the minutes. That's dog food to Joel. Like Toddy mentioned, they're going to play – Tom Thibodeau's going to play a lot of games, a lot of mind games. He's going to play a lot of zone like Toddy mentioned, so they're going to throw a lot at him because everyone in America knows the Knicks have no answer one-on-one for Joel Embiid. And like I mentioned, they made their moves they made at the deadline now get to see Buddy Hield in his first playoff series, actually. So that's just
never played in the playoffs?
Never played in the playoffs. Great. And it's funny because I saw Buddy wrong side. I went to this. So I saw Buddy in college. So finally get to see him in the playoffs, so that'd be nice to see. But then I just think the Knicks run into a wall, man. OG Anunoby, yeah, he's back. Yes, they're 19-1 when he's in the on playing in the lineup, but Julius Randle was also there. You're putting a lot of pressure on Jalen Brunson. And has he deservedly carried it on his shoulders? He has carried New York on his shoulders. So can he do it? I'm not putting it against him. But I just think if this team gets down early, it's going to be hard because Tyrese Maxey is going to have one of those nights. Like, you know Joel Embiid is going to come in and give you his night. You know Jalen Brunson is going to come in and do his thing. But the X factor on the Sixers is Tyrese Maxey. I don't believe that the Knicks have an X factor besides Dante DiVincenzo hitting 7 threes or Josh Hart getting a triple-double. I just don't think it's going to match up pound for pound. So at the end of the day, I think the 76ers wins in 6 games and send the Knicks home packing. And I know people are going to say, wow, Eric, that's crazy. I was like, but it's really not an upset because Toddy mentioned it last week when Joel Embiid's in the lineup, they have an 85% win percentage. That is only second to the Boston Celtics. So I know you want to say it's an upset, but if Joel Embiid plays the whole time, are they in that 2 seed? So there's a lot of things. And I know Toddy mentioned with the Knicks sneaking into the 2nd seed. The Cavs had the 2nd seed. Like I mentioned, they had injuries. The Bucks went down. So are the Knicks even a true 2 seed? So they're going to have to come in and show that they're a true 2 seed and that they believe that they can be the team in the East to challenge the Boston Celtics. But I think the 76ers got a lot coming. And I mentioned it last week, Joel Embiid's been hurt, yes, but this has been a lot of time to rest. So I'm all here for it. Toddy, we're going to go back to the West. LeBron James versus the Denver Nuggets. So I'm going to go ahead and break this down for you guys. I know.
Hold on, Kev, before you do that, before you break it down, I just want to give the odds on who's going to win the series. So the Nuggets are minus 370 to win the series. Minus 370. That is mind-boggling numbers. And if you want to bet the Lakers to win the series, just the series, plus 300. So good bang for your buck there on the Lakers.
Hey, man. Bet all the money you want because LeBron's going to keep on going.
Tomorrow, they're 7.5-point dogs, plus 240 on the money line. So if you guys feeling frisky, bet the Lakers.
I think it's going to happen, man. I honestly believe that the Lakers are playing a lot better than they were this season last year, or this time of the season last year. And I forgot to put the jersey on, but I got a D'Lo jersey in there. You know, he's loaded. He's playing good.
Oh, I have a D'Lo jersey?
Nah, Minnesota. Cold like Minnesota. But I couldn't wear it on the pod because Wes was going to flame me, so it has to live in the closet for the time being. But D'Angelo Russell is playing out of his mind. We are seeing trade deadline D'Lo in April. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he is continuing to play well. And they were losing games last year by 3-4 points, all single-digit losses. Like,
how much
I know
did
it's
D'Lo average in that series last year?
7 points.
Yeah.
And I know that was the most competitive sweep ever, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to sit here and say any sweep is competitive because you lost 4 games in a row. So D'Lo to come in here and play this game, for us to have that or not us, excuse me, the Lakers have that slight of a margin and skate by, I feel like D'Lo makes up that gap. I'm not going to come in here and say I'm 1,000% confident. I'm not going to come in here and say if it wasn't number 23 in that Lakers goal, would I be saying this? But God damn it, Lake showing 7, Toddy. And you know what? We're not going to go through a whole bracket preview, but not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but we coming. We coming. Let us hear it, Toddy.
Yeah, Nuggets in 5 games. It's gonna be. I mean, I don't know what you want me to say. When's the last time LeBron won in Denver? It's been a few years. The Nuggets kind of have the Lakers' number. We saw obviously last year in the playoffs. This past season, even Mike Malone spoke about. It was like, yeah, you know, this light work. Basically, what he said. Me paraphrasing what his quote was, basically like, yeah, we've had success against them before. Why not now? I do think the games are going to be competitive like they were last year, but I think the Nuggets still kind of handily win this series. The defending champs are going to flex their muscles. I don't even think they're the best threat per se to the Nuggets. It's not even the Lakers. Now matchup-wise, you're kind of looking at it from AD and Jokic should cancel each other out. LeBron and Murray should cancel each other out. So who are the other guys going to be? I think the Lakers or the Nuggets have the coaching advantage with Mike Malone. Obviously, he's a championship-winning coach. Your guy's former head coach in the Sacramento Kings. Let him go. Don't know why. I like
Mike Brown, baby. Me why?
Mike Brown is definitely the coach now. I just think the Nuggets are going to get the job done. The Lakers plus 7.5 tomorrow looks very juicy. I will admit that. But I think the Nuggets are just too good. They're just going to figure out a way to win. Jokic is probably going to average like 26, 12, and 12 throughout the entire series. Now, I do think if we get Gabe Vincent shows up, he was not on this team last year. If we get D'Lo to give you 15, can you give me 15 a game?
Playoff Rui.
If Rui shows up, if Anthony or Austin Reeves, if he's able to put the ball in the bucket, Taurean Prince is able to give you 3 threes a game, then we might have some things going. But I feel like there's too many question marks with the Laker roster. What are we going to get from the other guys? We already know what 80 is going to give you 16 rebounds, 3 blocks, 24 points. LeBron's going to give you 25 a night. What is everybody else going to give you? If D'Lo's giving you 7 points a game, that's not enough. You need Austin Reeves. I think 80 said it best in their postgame interview when they just had beat the Nuggets or not the Nuggets, the Pelicans. He said Rui, Austin Reeves, and D'Angelo Russell basically won them the game. Those were the other guys. Those 3 guys are going to have to show up in this series pretty consistently. I'd say 2 out of the 3 guys are going to have to show up consistently on a night-in, night-out basis in this series for them to be able to have a shot. But Vegas ain't giving them a shot. Damn it, I'm not giving them a shot. So give me the Nugs in 5 games. Jokic averages a triple-double in the series.
It's a cold world. Episode 91, Stats Over Politics. We have a few more segments to go. We're going to review the next games that will be played on Sunday. We have a factor cap. We'll be getting out of here shortly, guys. This is a bonus episode, so it will not be the full length. Kevin Dan, joined by Jaevon, Toddy, Shaun, and Garry, could not be here tonight, but they're with us in spirits. And like Toddy mentioned, we will be posting our picks for every set of games every day. So I know they're not here today, but you'll definitely be seeing their picks throughout the week on Instagram, Twitter, and wherever you can find us. So moving on, this is going to be nice, short, and sweet. Heat versus Celtics, round 3. I got Celtics in 3. I think they might just kick it old school. 3-0, all games by 25 points. Just sit at home. There's no need for Boston to stay an extra night in Miami. Just get them back home to Boston and let's figure it out. But in all seriousness, without Jimmy Butler, this team has a ceiling. They have if the ceiling's right here without Jimmy, it's probably right here with Jimmy. So it's not like it changes anything. I know playoff Jimmy is a thing, but his averages this year have been low. And I just don't think he can just turn it on like that. They don't have the team for that. If Bam Adebayo can come in every night and really do his thing, and Tyler Hero come in there and really do their thing, and I think at their damn best, everyone playing their game, Duncan Robinson, Cody Martin, like everyone coming out there and doing their damnness, it's not close. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kristaps Porzingis, Al Horford, Drew Holiday, Derek White. Shit, we're going to see a lot of Peyton Pritchard in this series. It's going to be a lot of big games, a lot of big gaps. This team is built to win a championship. I'm going to come out here and say it. I don't want it to happen because if it does, all hell's breaking loose on Stats Over Politics. But there's not need to get long-winded on this. I got Celtics in 4. It'll be fun. They beat them 2 years ago. Celtics got their revenge last year, but I think this trilogy is going to end very, very shortly. So, Toddy, go ahead and let us know what you're thinking about your team taking on the Miami Heat for the 3rd time in a row.
We are 14.5-point favorites. We're minus 1,000 to win the series. Folks, I'll have to spell this out for you. Celtics in 4. It's going to be short and sweet. I get it. Heat are our boogeyman in the playoffs. Jimmy Butler, blah, blah, blah. He's not there, obviously. Would have loved to seen him in this series and kind of be able to, make the series interesting. I do think even if Jimmy Butler does play, Celtics probably win in about 5 games. I'll give the respect to Jimmy Butler. He could probably get you a game. Things get weird in the playoffs. He would have probably been able to pull out a victory. So now I'm kind of looking at it with who's going to keep up with all the scoring that the Celtics are going to be able to provide. Jaime Jaquez, I don't think so. He did look good in the playing game, but we'll see what he looks like during the playoffs now. I'm not sure of the health of Terry Rozier. He did not play in tonight's game. I don't know if he'll be ready to play in Sunday's game. I'm unaware. Bam Adebayo, we'll give him the respect. He's a multiple-time All-Star. Other than that, it's a bunch of Caleb Martins. I forget the
Terry Rozier's, Jokic.
What's the random dude's name? He started tonight. It was like Fartenstein something.
Highsmith.
Highsmith. There we go. Him. It's a lot of,
Yep. Had him on my parlay and he fucked it for me.
Yeah, those T culture guys. You got no idea. So I don't think there is going to be enough scoring for the Miami Heat in this series. So Celtics 4.
Now, arguably, this might be the most interesting playoff series on either side of the conference. The Mavericks versus the Clippers. Round 3. Is this the year Luka gets it done, Toddy?
I think so. It's weird. Every time you mention Clippers and playoffs, it's like, who's playing? Is Kawhi playing? Is Paul George playing? Once again, there's a question. Last year, it was a question mark with Paul George. Paul George was unable to – I don't even think he played in the series at all. And then Kawhi Leonard, I think he has like a 36-point game. The first game, I think they won game 1, if I'm not mistaken. And then all of a sudden, Kawhi's – just like a random report comes out, yeah, Kawhi's got a knee issue. He's out. Well, what do you mean he's out? So, now you're seeing reports Kawhi's ramping up to play. Haven't any official word on him yet. So, again, another question mark for the Clippers. With that being said, I do like the Mavericks in 6 games. I think the Mavericks have been probably the best team in the NBA post All-Star break. The additions of Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington have been immense. They're both coming from shit franchises, that being the Washington Wizards and the Charlotte Hornets. I don't think they couldn't spell winning. But Daniel Gafford has been a beast on the boards for them, and being able to defend the rim. PJ Washington is coming to a role where he doesn't feel like he has to come out there and score all the points. They definitely have Luka Doncic and Kyrie are two of the best scorers in the NBA. I think we'll see a 35-point triple-double from Luka at some point in the series. I think Kyrie's going to average at least 27 during the series. And it's pretty much, I don't think Kawhi is going to play as much. So I'm going to take the Clippers, or not the Clippers, the Mavericks in 6 games. They're favored by 2.5 or 2 points in this upcoming game. I think it's on Sunday as well. So that'll probably be one of the more exciting series. Now, it's going to be a different story if Kawhi Leonard does play. However, I don't think he does. I think he misses the majority of the series. And with that being said, I think the Mavs are too hot coming into this series as well. So love the Mavs in the series.
I don't know, man. I think this is probably the hardest one. I know I said the Magic and Cavs was, but I went back and forth, and I'm still really not decided. Ty's mentioned it. We've seen this Clippers team, like the Cavaliers team, when we've seen this Clippers team playing on a high, winning 10, 11 games in a row. Is this the best team in the NBA? Is this the best team in the Western Conference? And then James Harden closed out against Kawhi, and he came out and said, I'm just trying to get the morale high. This team went really went downhill really fast. Ty Lue came out and called them soft to the media. This team's been playing up and down. What James Harden are we going to get? Are we going to get 19-12? Are we going to get 7-4 in a fat suit? What are we going to get? We saw Paul George when healthy. He can be playoff P. I know everyone's saying, Kevin, you can't give yourself a nickname. I don't give a damn. Playoff P, baby, is back. Kawhi Leonard is ramping up, like Ty said. He missed the last 6 games of the regular season, I believe, but you have to look at that as a blessing, as a curse. Yes, he's not playing. He's losing his rhythm. He's not getting up all the shots that he should be, but he's not getting any more miles on those knees. Kawhi Leonard has always been known for ramping up right towards the end of the playoff, right before the playoffs, and showing out when he's supposed to be making that money. But like Tony mentioned, the Mavericks have been damn near the best team in the West since the All-Star break. There was a time, ladies and gentlemen, where the Kings were 6 and the Mavericks were 10. There was a time. And we just so there was a time, when the Kings were at 6 and healthy, but the Mavericks have been playing well. Jason Kidd is finally getting this team all bought in, and I'm really excited to see what this team does in the playoffs. If I had
coaching
to
matchup is going to be very interesting. Tyler, Jason Kidd,
very. I think Tyler wins that matchup Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and twice on Sundays.
Some would argue Jay Kidd's a better mind.
Championship winning coach, baby. I can't ever go against that. So, with all that being said, I think I'm going to go Mavericks in 7. I think this year Luka does it. The Clippers got a lot of questions, so if they need to win this series because you got Paul George as a free agent, you got James Harden being a free agent, so there's going to be a lot of moving pieces. They're moving into a new arena, so this would be a great upkick into the new arena, again, that hype. But like I mentioned, Kyrie and the Mavs, Ramadan Kyrie is balling his ass off, so I'm going to have to go Kyrie, but the Mavericks. Hey man, that's it. Just comes off the tongue. So I'm gonna have to go Mavericks in 7. Moving on to the last series in the Eastern Conference, we have the Pacers versus the Bucks. So I'm gonna go ahead and swing this first. I got Pacers in 6. I feel like we're watching a movie, watching a rerun. Excuse me. I remember a couple of years ago, Kevin Durant, calf soreness. He's not going to play. Then he comes back, And I don't want to finish this since I don't, knock on wood. I don't want to put that out there. But that's kind of what I'm getting. They're not putting a timetable on Giannis's injury. I think they understand, too, because that's such a fragile situation. On top of this Bucks team kind of going to shit. We had this team as arguably one of the first or second teams in the East in the preseason show. We had a lot of expectations. You never had that second guy. So you go on, you get Damian Lillard. Everyone said, trading, getting rid of Drew and bringing in Damian, lose a lot of defense. Yeah, they fired their coach halfway through. They were 30-13 when they fired him, and they didn't even get to 50 wins under Doc Rivers. So I really don't want this for Doc because they're going to drag him through the mud. They're going to wring him. They're going to crinkle him about like a wet T-shirt and get rid of him. But the Pacers have owned this team with Giannis on the court, and now Giannis is off the court. If we can see Tyrese Halliburton go back to who he was before the injury, they're going to wipe the floor with him because that team, the number one offense in the NBA, didn't even have Pascal Siakam at the time. So now he's playing, but Benedict Mathurin isn't playing. They no longer have Buddy Hield. So this team is going to have a lot of guys. Andrew Nembhard, they're going to have a lot of guys come off the bench and really try to contribute because that starting five is Howard, but they're going to need some help. So I'm going to have to go Pacers at 6. Toddy, what do you think?
So the Pacers are favored to win this series, minus 120. The Bucks are slight dogs. Now, Vegas is telling you they don't think Giannis is playing. They think the injury is a lot more serious than being reported on. Giannis has been out, I think, almost a week and a half, like before this, 2 weeks, before the season was even over. And now it's like, okay, it's playoff time. Is Giannis ready? Oh, we don't know. Obviously, he's not playing. Well, he hasn't been officially ruled out tomorrow, but he ain't playing tomorrow.
He ain't playing tomorrow.
Or Sunday. I think it's Sunday that they're
playing. Oh, yes, these are Sunday's games, yes.
He ain't playing. I think the same thing happened last year. His injury, tried to come back and wasn't really, I wouldn't say it wasn't effective, but things were kind of out of whack. And Miami just went on this huge run and ended up winning the series as an 8 seed. As an upset. Ooh. Dare I say Pacers in 5. This ends badly. Doc, they probably move on from Doc.
And Dame?
Dame is probably gone as well. I like the Pacers 5 games. This will probably be one of the bolder takes. They've kind of been The Pacers they've done pretty much whatever that they wanted. Even this is before, I think it was before, like you said, before Pascal Siakam was even signed, was even on the team. And Giannis had, the 60-point game and the whole ball thing. So I think, Pacers are going to pretty much have their number. Who is it? I'm just blanking on his name. The coach for the Pacers. I'm blanking on his name.
Shit. He used to coach the Mavs. I can Google it.
He used to coach the Mavs. I think Shaun or Kev's gonna pull it up for us. Rick Carlisle. He is
Rick Carlisle.
He definitely has the coaching advantage in this matchup. I think.
Whoa, Toddy, look. I know Doc Rivers ain't been looking too hot.
I think Carlisle has the coaching advantage here, and this is my old coach that won a championship. So, Pacers, all right, they play at a very, very fast pace. That's bad for the Bucks. The Bucks do not like to play fast. They like to get into the half court, run their sets. I think we're going to see a couple of big games from Pascal Siakam in this game. We'll see definitely some big games from Tyrese Halliburton. I think we'll see some flashes of Damian Lillard as well to try and will their team to victory. But the absence of Giannis Antetokounmpo is obviously the elephant in the room. And I think the Pacers are going to kind of run away with that. With that being said, I like the Pacers in 5 games.
All right. I think we have another quick one. We have the last series we'll be talking about, which is the Thunder versus the Pelicans. I was really ready to come in here, guys. Kings in 7. Now, it's the Pelicans, and I'm going Thunder in 5. Jonas Valanciunas, game 1, is going to blow a hole through Chet's chest. He was in there bodying Sabonis. He was bodying AD when they first played. Willie Green has made it a known fact that we're going to throw that bitch in there 4 or 5 times every time up and down. We got to throw. He got to get a touch. Go in there, bang, and we see what he can do. The Thunder, the one thing that I was screaming that they needed was another rebounder. They really have Chet and a bunch of guards. This is a very, very young team, so that's why I said Thunder in 5. They might come out and shit the bed one of these games because they're just such a young team, and I understand age is just a number, and they've been playing at the same age the whole season. I get it. This is playoff basketball. This is, you lose 4 games, you're going home, sweetheart. See you in the offseason. This is a team that has 2 lottery picks. So if this is a team that can hit the WCF, do they wake up and go, do we trade these picks and go get us a superstar? What do we do? Or they try to draft some more players or whatever they're going to do. This season, this playoff run is going to set the standard, set the infrastructure for the quote-unquote Thunder dynasty that we might see. So I'm going to have to go Thunder in 5. Toddy, what are you thinking?
I'm going to piggyback off what you were saying about the age and inexperience for the Thunder. I think the Thunder win this series, but I'm going to say in 6 games. I think they're going to be a little bit more battle tested than normal. I understand that Zion Williamson is not going to probably be available for the series. I do believe the Pelicans displayed a lot of versatility and depth in tonight's win over Sacramento. And kind of being able to be like, hey, we still have, Jose Alvarado, Herb Jones can defend, Trey Murphy can hit threes for us, CJ McCollum can get going, and Brandon Ingram. So it seems like the minutes restriction is off because he played 37 minutes.
Shit, had no choice but take it off.
So I think if B.I. can display that he can get hot and winning these games in this series, they're going to be able to steal a couple of victories. So. Not sure if they'll steal any of these if they'll steal the first 2 games, but I do think that they can get a couple of wins at home. So I'm going to take the Thunder to win because I just think they're the better overall team with SGA, Chet, Jalen Williams, and Dagnall. I think he has the coaching advantage here in this series. So it's going to be very interesting. A lot of young talent. But if Zion was playing, I think it would be a little bit more competitive than needed. I don't know if he tries to make a push.
No. Don't even risk it.
But I think the Thunder are the better overall team, and they'll get the series victory.
All right, so that concludes it for our playoff round 1 picks. We have one more segment, then we'll be getting out of here. This is episode 91 of Stats Over Politics. And there is no better way to end the show than with a fact or cap. So, Toddy, fact or cap. Jason Tatum is under the most pressure to win a championship this year.
The most pressure, Jason Tatum. I'll say a fact. There's been a bunch of, a lot of dialogue about the yin and yang, the Batman Robin, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. There's this and that going on. And they've been to the conference finals this many times and blah, blah, blah. And I mean, the guy's only, 25 years old? And to reference LeBron James's podcast, I forgot with JJ Redick.
Mind the game.
Thank you, LeBron Oliver.
Of course, bro. Oh, I watched those. I don't listen. I have to watch them.
Yeah. He was saying, I think it was in either his first or second podcast, that he wasn't, I think he was 28 before he won his first finals. So, Jason Tatum's been to how many conference finals? And he's only 24. So there's going to be some time before, you're kind of, beating a dead horse and getting to the same spot and not coming up with the right results. So I think if the Celtics don't win it this year, then there's probably going to be changes in the offseason to, the dynamic of the team. involving probably Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I think if they had to choose one or the other, it'd definitely be Jason Tatum.
Not even a conversation.
But I would probably have to agree that he, out of everybody currently right now, he's probably under the most pressure to win it. Just based off how good this team is and the NBA, history, point differential, and like by the numbers, this is like one of the best teams in NBA history. This is from a numbers standpoint. So I would say that this is a factor.
Factor Cap. Jason Tatum is under the most pressure to win a championship this season. I'm going to have to go Cap. I'm going to say Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is always going to be under the most pressure. Since he's left Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green and Steve Kerr, he has not been out of the second round. So, he's getting right there. I know people are going to say, well, maybe Kevin, if he wore a size 14 versus 15, you never know. Well, let's talk about what actually happened. Kevin Durant went on his own and said, I can do it by myself. This is a Kevin Durant that, if he doesn't tear his Achilles, is a three-peat. I know the Raptors team was very, very good, but that Warriors team was very, very good as well. Kevin Durant went to Brooklyn, built his team, destroyed the franchise, shipped everybody out, said, you got to fire the GM and the coach if you want me to stay. They said, Kevin Durant, who do you want to coach? Steve Nash? No experience? Come on, Kyrie said you don't need a coach. James, you don't need a coach? Perfect. Just go out there, hold a clipboard, give him some water. You're going to hug KD when he hits some big-time shots. Kevin Durant, your legacy is on the line. You don't have that much left in the tank. You have Bradley Beal. Right? Yes, 35. You have Bradley Beal and Devin Booker. You have to go out there and win a championship. Do I think it's realistic? No. Do I think there's other people up there that you could say, yeah, James Harden, Joel Embiid. There's a lot of other guys that you can throw in that mix. The Clippers as a team and themselves, there's a lot of pressure. But when it comes down to sole players, I think it has to be Kevin Durant. He has to come out here and show that he's worth everything. Everyone has moved the mountains for him. And if he requested out of Phoenix, they're getting 4 first-round picks because, goddamn it, it's Kevin Durant. So I need to see you. You wanted your spotlight. You didn't want to play second fiddle to Steph Curry. You thought you were going to go to his town, and because you won Finals MVP, you'd be any different. Oakland is forever Steph town. No matter what you did, and he realized that. So he wanted to go and spark his own trail, and he's 0 for 1. So now you're on another team. So let's see what you can do. But this question has to be a cap. I believe it's Kevin Durant, 1,000%. And that's going to do it for episode 91 of Stats Over Politics. This is Kevin Dent. This is Jay. Signing off. Just to let you guys know, now that we have the playoffs going, we will probably be starting all of our Monday podcasts around 9 o'clock, just because we want to give you guys that fresh content. We're in the business of content, like Toddy always says. So we want to make sure we give ourselves the opportunity to see all the games, so we can give you guys that fresh live content before you hear Stephen A in the morning. So we're going to come give it to you guys just how you like it. This is Kevin Dent and Jaevon Toddy. We are signing off. This is episode 91 of Stats Over Politics. You guys have a great rest of your night. And Kings, we are going to Cancun, baby. Let's do it. Signing off.
All official.